Hi there. Using the concepts that we learnt in the earlier video on indices, let's solve equations of the form a to the power x is equal to b. Okay, so let me go through the methods. So to solve equations with an unknown index, so remember the term index in an earlier video means power, so index and power mean the same thing. We need to follow the method below. Okay, so here is the method. Step number one is we need to make the bases the same on both sides of the given equation. Okay, so if you have an equation of the form a to the power x equals b, the first step is to make the base terms on both sides of this equation the same. And once you've done that, step number two is we then equate the powers on both sides of the equation to calculate the unknown or the unknown index. Okay, so let's see this method in action with an example. So here's an example 1, part A. So we need to solve this equation 2 to the power 2x plus 1 is equal to 8. So back to the paper and pen. So 2 to the power 2x plus 1 is equal to 8. So here is how step number 1 works. So here's step number 1. So quickly back to the screenshot. So step number 1, we need to make the bases the same on both sides of the given equation. So back to the paper and pen. So in this equation in question, I have a base of 2 on the left hand side. I have a base of 8 on the right hand side. So let me try and make 8 a base of 2 to the power of something. So we know that 8, so let me take a red pen. 8 is the same as a base of 2 to the power 3. Okay, so with this being said, on the left hand side I have 2 to the power 2x plus 1. That is equal to 8, which is a base of 2 to the power 3. Okay, so that is what step number 1 is about, making the base terms the same on both sides of the equation. So now I have a base term of 2 on both sides. So this takes us to step number 2. So let's refer to the screenshot. Step number 2 is we then equate the powers on both sides of the equation to calculate the unknown index. Okay, so back to the paper and pen. So since the base terms are the same on both sides, we just equate powers. So the power on the left, which is 2x plus 1, is equal to the power on the right, which is 3. Okay, and now we need to rearrange this equation and find the unknown term x. So if I take 1 to the opposite side, 2x is equal to 3 minus 1, which is 2. So x therefore is 1. So that is the solution to example 1. So back to the screenshots. So I have 2 further examples. So here's part B of example 1. 3 to the power 3x minus 1 is equal to 1 over 27. So back to the paper and pen. So here's part B. So I have 3 to the power 3x minus 1, that is 1 over 27. So in step number 1, so let's quickly refer back to the screenshot. So in step number 1, we need to make the bases the same on both sides of the given equation. So back to the paper and pen. So in this case, I have a base of 3 on the left hand side. However, I have 1 over 27 on the right hand side. Let's try and make 1 over 27 a base of 3 to the power something. So I'm not going to touch the 3 to the power 3x minus 1. But 1 over 27 is the same as 27 to the power minus 1. Okay, so remember one of the rules in an earlier video, x to the power minus n is 1 over x to the n. Okay, so we use this rule in order to rewrite 1 over 27 as 27 to the minus 1. But further to that, 27, okay, I can make that a base of 3 to the power of something. So 27 is the same as 3 to the power 3 to the power minus 1 in this case. And in this case I could simplify this, so I'll have 3 to the power 3 times minus 1, so 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. Okay, so there is another result that says that if you have x to the a to the power b, that is the same as x to the power a times b, which is ab. Okay, so that completes step number 1 in the sense that I have a base of 3 now on both sides of this equation. So this takes us nicely to step number 2. So back to the screenshots quickly. So in step number 2, remember, we then equate the powers on both sides of the equation to calculate the unknown. So back to the paper and pen. So since I have a base of 3 on both sides, let's equate the powers. So I have a power of 3x minus 1 on the left hand side. I have a power of minus 3 on the right hand side. So from here on, let's find what x is. So if I take minus 1 to the right, 3x will be minus 3 minus of minus 1, which is minus 2. So x therefore is minus 2 over 3. So that should be the solution to part B. So let's go back to the screenshots. So we have one further example, part C. So part C is to solve 9 into 3 to the power x squared, that is equal to 81 to the power x. So back to the paper and pen. So here's the example, part C, 9 into 3 to the x squared, that is equal to 81 to the power x. So in this example, so let's try and make 9 and 81 a base of 3 to the power of something. So remember the idea of step number 1, we need to make the terms on both sides of the equation have the same base. So 9 is the same as 3 to the power 2 into this 3 to the power x squared, and that is equal to 81 is the same as a base of 3 to the power 4 to the power of this x. Okay, so remember in the last example, x to the power a to the power b is the same as x to the ab. So using this same concept here, I can simplify this right hand term. Okay, however, just be careful with the left hand side, because remember brackets means multiply. So in this case 3 to the power 2, so let's do a side calculation, into 3 to the power x squared. So as I said, brackets means multiply, so we need to multiply 3 to the 2 by 3 to the x squared. And remember in the earlier video on indices, whenever we multiply two terms having the same base, we add the powers. So we're going to get 3 to the power 2 plus x squared. So that is what you should have for the left hand term. So the left hand term reads 3 to the power 2 plus x squared. On the right hand side, as we discussed, 3 to the power 4 to the power x is the same as 3 to the 4x. So this takes us to step number 2. So back to the screenshot. So in this case, we then equate the powers on both sides of the equation to calculate the unknown index. So back to the paper and pen. So in this case, our equation has the same base. So we have a base of 3 on both sides. So let's then equate the powers. So 2 plus x squared on the left, that in turn is equal to 4x on the right. Okay, so let's try and make a quadratic equation. So if I take the 4x to the left hand side, I have my quadratic x squared minus 4x plus 2 is equal to 0. Okay. Now we can't factorise this quadratic, so we need to use the quadratic formula. So let's use our quadratic formula: x is minus b plus or minus square roots b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so in this formula, a is, remember, the coefficient of x squared, so the coefficient of x squared is 1. b is the coefficient of x, which is minus 4. c is the constant in your quadratic, which is plus 2. Okay, so with this being said, let's substitute a and b and c into the formula. So x is minus b, which is minus 4, plus or minus square roots. Okay, and b squared, b is minus 4, so it's minus 4 squared, minus 4 into a, which is 1, c, which is 2, divided by 2 into a, which is 1. Okay, so if we expand, minus into minus 4 is plus 4, plus or minus square roots. Minus 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 times 1 times 2 is minus 8, divided by 2 into 1, which is 2. Okay, and if I simplify further, we'll have x, and that is 4, plus or minus square roots. 16 minus 8 is 8, divided by 2. Okay, now we can simplify this further. In a video that I did in surds, root of 8, we can simplify that. So root of 8, so using one of the rules for surds, root of 8 is root of 4 times root of 2, as 4 times 2 gives us 8. And I chose these two numbers specifically because one of the roots gives me a whole number when calculated. So root of 4 in particular gives us a whole number of 2 to give us 2 root 2. So with root 8 being simplified to 2 root 2, we're going to have 4 plus or minus root 8, which is 2 root 2 divided by 2. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, if I take out a common factor in the numerator of 2, I'm left with 2 plus or minus root 2 divided by the 2 here. And by doing this, I can cancel the 2 in the numerator with the 2 in the denominator to give us an answer of 2 plus or minus root 2. So this should be the solution to part C. Okay, so that completes this example, and that sadly ends this video. So I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, a like will be very much appreciated. Do plenty of practice related questions, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.